Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Jim and Rob Overanalyze Movies, the live video podcast for people who are looking for a deeper conversations about the films we watch today. Got a banger for you, folks. Let's get into it. That's right, everyone. Oops, I don't know why I hit that again. That's right, everyone. We're going to be looking at J. Kelly, latest from Noah Baumbach, and of course, George Clooney, and another guy, bunch of people famous. It's a movie about movies. Anyway, we've got a killer show for you tonight. But first, I think it's time to let on my co-host with the most, my Borscht Bro, Mr. Jim Chaboyko. How are you doing? How are you doing, my friend?
What's it all about? I've got my cup and straw because I think that's a little more cinematic than raising a cup in front of my face. So one of the things I've learned during this YouTube excursion.
I'm always worried when I've got a mug going on, especially around all the technology.
Yeah. Pull a Homer Simpson. The Midwest has gone out. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I also want to, of course, it's been a while since we've been live here on YouTube. I'm going to give a shout out to one of our very first early subscribers to the show, a great friend of the channel, Shashank, our man in Chennai. Great to see you, Shashank.
Hey, Shashank.
Oh my goodness. Apparently that I'm assuming he's talking about the film we're talking about. One of his profs recommended that the class watch this. Or perhaps it's us, Jim.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because he's taking classes online, I believe. I don't want to give out too much personal information, but he's taking classes online through
States, I think. Film.
Yeah. But I believe it would be an American-based prof, unless I'm wrong, Shashank. So yeah, that checks.
Yeah.
it being well, Netflix making everything sort
I
of
like how
inconvenient.
you're all cagey for a guy who put in the public chat.
Yeah.
My prof recommended we
Yeah,
watch
yeah.
this.
Well, I don't want to give out too
He
much
might be
personal.
studying something to do with film.
Yes.
Uh, you know what? Let's jump right into it. We
Sure.
are going to, again, I'm starting to really like this. Get the spoiler-free review, but save our recommendation till the end of the show. And yes, Shashank has confirmed it's an American prof. Let's get into it. Let's talk about the movie at hand, and that is Jay Kelly. And Jim, why don't you give us your spoiler-free review?
Sure. So, in another one of these movies about movies, I'm not always super keen, but then on them in general, they can come across as both smug and patronizing. This one, I didn't really dig it until about the third act, and I'll tell you why. The first two acts seem a lot of like Hollywood, am I right? Sort of combined with that Us magazine feature, celebs, they're just like us. So that's what I mean about it being sort of, it assumes you know all this stuff about the Hollywood life. At the same time,
Yeah.
you're not part of it, right? You're just a regular schlub like the people on the train. But then it sort of becomes a film, turns from a movie into a film. And in the third act, and everything gets personal, and the camera sort of comes in. And I found the last third way more fulfilling than the stuff that preceded it.
Yeah.
So that's my. I'll give you the verdict at the end, but that's sort of where I'm leading with this.
You know what? I find that fascinating. Myself, I really had a hard time connecting with this film. Except, as you say, right at the end, I'm like, wow, up to that point, I was like, this is fine. And yeah, it does. It gets a little more meaningful in that third act, and a little more, oh, okay, we're watching something kind of interesting. At the very end, for what is, I would say, a fine film. At the end, it's like, but damn, it stuck the landing. It was an interesting landing. It's, that ending, and I'm looking forward to asking you about it in the spoiler zone amongst a number of other questions. But yes, I think I agree with you in just about everything you said. It is pretty. I don't want to damn it with this word, but I keep thinking generic. Yeah, it's like you say, it's. Oh, look at these! They put their pants on. They have worries. They have troubles.
Yeah.
Somehow in their life of incredible wealth and leisure.
Yeah, and in this age where especially the last year or so, where the uber wealthy have gained a lot of our attention. Yeah, I sort of wonder if it's the best time to be making sort of cracks about private planes and stuff like that. Like I'm not personally offended, but I just thought it seemed like that. It's almost like having it's almost like writing a story about an angry white middle-aged guy. It's no longer funny. It might have been funny 20 years ago, like the angry homeowner, kids get off my lawn.
Yeah.
Now it's not so funny, right? No. And it's sort of like that in that sort of tone.
Like conjures that image of two angry, affluent suburbanites with their guns.
Yeah.
Threatening protesters who are just walking by.
Yeah, just in that sort of vague way where it's maybe not the best time to bring this kind of thing up. The pains of the wealthy,
Yeah.
So
okay. Well, put a pin on that. Let's you know what, Jim? Let's go there. Let's jump into the spoiler zone. And let's start with this. I had a few big questions. You know, I'm not saying it's the deepest film, but it does raise some interesting issues. And there's certainly that. And that kind of hooks into something I read. I cannot remember where I saw it. Maybe it was a clip from a Wikipedia article or something. But, well, actually, let me start with this. Here is the log line. I got to read the log line. Can't believe I didn't read it before, but I think it's more appropriate now. Here's the log line from the official press notes, the press kit from Netflix. All right, let's okay, what do we got here? I always love this, Jim. the kind of pompous language they use, eh?
Yeah.
But Jay Kelly, the new film from Academy Award nominee Noah Baumbach, follows famous movie actor Jay Kelly, played by relative unknown George Clooney, as he embarks on a journey of self-discovery, confronting both his past and his present. A comedy accompanied by his devoted manager, Ron, Adam Sandler. Poignant and humor-filled, epic and intimate, Jay Kelly is pitched at the intersection of life's regrets and notable glories.
Well, I can't afford not to see this movie.
And, and what kills me about that, somebody, if I find it, I'll pin it. I'll pin the comment or throw it in the description. But one of the critics wrote in a positive enough review saying, you know, it's almost too gentle to be a satire. And I'm like, there is nothing satirical about this film, unless it's that unintended satire, like the log line, epic and intimate. It's like, what are you talking about? So I come back to something you were saying. Is this, I look at most movies about movies as kind of a weird kind of, they're both insecure, but also kind of defensive, kind of passive aggressive, and kind of disconnected, a little deluded.
Yeah.
And you read that log line and you go, I mean, it's Noah Baumbach and his partner Greta Gerwig, who also is a player in this film.
Yep.
I mean, you go from Frances Ha to this. They've gone from upper middle class New York hipster types to now they're definitely LA rich. Maybe not.
They're running the show.
They're running the show, but it's still that same kind of navel gazy. That, you know, it's tough being us.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, is it? Again, much like I ranted here, I find it more darkly funny. But I'm thinking about that last Netflix flick we watched, House of Dynamite, and it's like, oh, so this is. Thank goodness you're talking about the big issues. So I don't know if I've actually got a question in there, but you're about to say something.
I've got a little bit of a point here in that I said that movies about movies aren't my favorite subject. And I think back to I saw The Player in the theaters. That's probably aging me a bit. Altman's The Player with Tim Robbins.
Wow.
I didn't even like that then. Like, there was that kind of smugness, the sunglass and nice suit and nice car kind of thing. And maybe that says more about me than it does about the movie itself. But there's a tier of these kinds of movies that they open up smug, and I just can't get into them. This one I eventually did get into, but and sometimes a lot of people love The Player. The other one too that I didn't like, that I thought it totally different subject, but it was that Edgar Wright one about the end of the world. That one where everybody played themselves, and Jay Baruchel was in it, and that
This is the
crew of
end.
yeah, I could so clubby and so wink wink nudge
Yeah.
nudge, and I just couldn't get into it. And I like most of the people involved in that project, but I think I saw that in the theater too, and I just didn't really work with me. But in the meantime, I brought up a list. I found a decent list on the Guardian, and there's movies about movies ranked, and in this list there's the ones that you forget, like Bowfinger, which is one of my favorite movies of all
Yeah.
time. There's Shadow of the
Swimming
Vampire.
with Sharks.
Yeah, I think I've seen part of that, but is that with Kevin Spacey and
Kevin Spacey and
Frank Wally? Maybe I
Wally,
want to say.
and just one of the darkest.
Yeah, yeah.
Like there, it's like, yeah, this is. I'm thinking of, oh, good grief! I think it was Jay Moore playing an agent.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I think it's got that kind of.
yeah.
Not on so you got Entourage on one side, right? That's like super like, how is this even a show?
Yeah, yeah.
What's going on here?
Yeah, I never watched that. But yeah, so Shadow of the Vampires, there's the stuntman in here. I'm not going to read them all out, but there's the Iranian filmmaker Abbas Kiarostami, which I know I'm mispronouncing, but he often does projects about the storytellers. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, of course, which was I quite liked. There's a few more that I don't know. Hail Caesar, but there are some good ones in there, and some real, like Bowfinger's amazing.
Yeah.
There's Ed Wood. There's a few that I didn't know, but so it's not for me. It's not a lost subgenre, but there's a certain that Hollywood level kind of like, oh, this life we're living, huh? It just, and the studio, the Seth Rogen show from Apple, I don't think had any of that smugness, because I think it was based on character, and it was based on failing characters, or characters that weren't very good at their jobs and still sort of seemed to fail up. So I think that's, and it was based on tension, not sort of like, the life in the lifestyle.
A rich man has to actually face the fact that he's nearing the end of his life and looking back at regrets.
Yeah,
as do we all.
Yeah.
Well, here, first of all, I'm going to bring this up now, but I think it's worthy of discussion later in the show. Shashank made an interesting point in the comments. He's asking us to help him understand George Clooney. Incredibly famous here, and people really admire him, but I'm not aware of a film of his that may have shaped culture the way Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, or Leonardo, Arnold, and I just want to put a pin on that, because that's an interesting point, about that. I would argue, I'm just going to throw out one, the Oceans movies.
Yeah.
Had, although there's such pop, there's such, as Soderbergh referred to them himself as bonbons.
Yeah.
I think there's something there that kind of captures the Clooney, almost like the ideal Clooney character.
Yeah.
But back to this, though, movies about Hollywood, and you're almost describing this is where it's like, there's, the second you say a gentle satire, you're really saying parody, and it's not, and this isn't a parody. It does. It's that, what is that? And it was definitely a COVID one. Also a Netflix flick.
Yeah.
That terrible
Bubble, something to.
Yeah, The Bubble. The Bubble?
Was it just called The Bubble? I can look that up.
I'm going to look it up right now. The Bubble 2022.
There we go.
Here it is. How could you forget that dreck?
The question that you've asked in the past, and it's a good question, and I sort of, I don't know if I answered it accurately all the time, is do you or will you remember anything about this movie X number of years from now. And there's a longer list than I'd like to admit that you can put in that category. I think the bubble is one. I
Yeah.
barely remember the Tron thing we just saw a couple
Another.
months ago. But
Well, that was a or no, what do you like to say? Well, it was shaped like a movie.
yeah, exactly. It was a movie adjacent experience.
We were in a theater.
Yeah, exactly. Something was on the screen. I can only describe it as a movie.
Well, let me ask this. What is this? Like, let's talk a bit more maybe about the story before we get into the guts of it. Like, I gotta admit, it's like, or maybe this is almost my questions are almost like what could have been questions.
Mm.
But I did put it as the title, and I've got it as like, is Jay Kelly a Dr. Faustus kind of character?
Oh, yeah.
He is at the end. He got everything he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
You know, no one, no, much like, much like I would say about Kamala Harris. It's like no one, she was not a single mother doing her best, and the only job that she could have gotten was Attorney General of the state of California. It was all they had.
Yeah.
Same thing with movie stars. Actual movie stars have a blinding ambition. They can they can also be lazy. They can be a million terrible and wonderful things. But the few that I have met, they are laser-like focused on getting those roles. They need the looks. They need a number of things that have, more lottery wins, than anything. But without that ambition, if they don't want to, they will just self-destruct.
Oh, yeah. They're essentially freelancers, right? And if they just want to pull the plug, they pull the plug,
I mean, you see it more, actually. Now I'm thinking of this article, Jim, that I had mentioned about how fame may actually be a killer, talking about the lower life expectancy of famous singers versus their non-famous counterparts, like sort of otherwise twins. And I will put a link to that, but let me see if I can't find it here. There we go. The price of fame, mortality risk amongst famous singers.
Oh my gosh. Abstract methods.
It is an academic paper. Anyway, I guess what they did is previous studies have found that famous musicians tend to have a higher mortality risk than the general population, which might be a hint that fame is a risk factor for early mortality. However, alternative explanations remain plausible, as occupational stressors and mental health vulnerabilities likely also play a role. Now, where was I with that? Where was I going with that?
Choices,
the choices
foist upon you.
Yeah, no one, you want to be there. And I'm thinking about this article. It's like, or you
they made me act in this movie.
Yeah, they drove back to dump truck full of money. What could I do? There is that ambition, that desire, and sometimes it's the ambition and desire that gets them, but I think sometimes it's the I am not made for this that gets them. I don't want this, and so they sabotage. I mean, the road to fame is strewn with the sometimes literal corpses, but definitely the corpses of careers that could have been. But for really crazy choices that the would-be star made, and maybe is better way to look at it is they're like, I got to get out of this. Oh, go ahead.
No, no, I was just agreeing with you.
Yeah.
Having said that, I think it's the anniversary probably about, oh, I want to say about 14 years ago, the night that you and I went to the Prince concert, rest in peace.
Too many
And
hits.
yeah, and he passed away. He didn't make 60, right? So
Yeah.
that's right here in town. You know, we saw him in Winnipeg, and I'm super glad, we went because it was a freaking great concert. But and it yeah, so yeah, there's a long list of
Yeah.
people that you can name.
Well, let me ask this though. Coming back to this movie, coming back to this character, he does, and again, coming to this idea of a gentle satire or a gentle examination,
Mm,
which also like a kind of like, really? You do see a man at the beginning who's, well, I'm lonely. I want to be around you. You're always around people. Here's a friend, and they're all staff.
mhm.
Not exactly. Baumbach is not exploring new ground here.
Mm-mm.
These people have staff, very intimate, like everyone is catering to, oh, we'll make sure that the tamales she likes are there.
Yeah,
And, the chef will do this. And, there he is getting pictures of him. His daughter's taking pictures of him cleaning his pool. And once she's packed up and leaving, well, the actual pool boy takes over,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know? And so we see some of that, but it's all kind of muted. And we never, do we ever really see Jay actually kind of facing or having to deal with in this flick that, like, hey, this is the actual cost of fame and
yeah,
ridiculous wealth. You're gonna
yeah.
have these people who quit because they gotta quit, but it's like, even them, I'm like, I'm sorry, but where am I here? Oh yeah, bull.
Yeah.
Those people are there, like everyone. His old mentor, in a way, what kicks off the movie is this guy, two people from his past, kind of one through death,
Mhm.
run through, hey, you killed my career,
Yeah.
you stole from me. Like a Tom Selleck to Harrison Ford saying, that should have been my role.
Yeah.
Um, you have but otherwise, all these people around him are like, oh, this is too crazy. No, they want to be there. Everyone is there. Uh, and you really see it in his old mentor, that director who I guess discovered him, gave him that
Pete
big
the
role. Pete, thank you.
Peter, played by Jim Broadbent,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh, he, like he says, I'll give you the money. Any money, I'll give you the money.
Mhm.
What the guy wants to do, what they all want to do, is stay around the fire, stay in the game. The name of the game is to stay in the game. You are
Yeah.
not the manager of that big a star. Either you're exclusively that guy's manager, you're not managing anyone else, or you're not around him holding his hand. You're in an office going, I'm making millions off of 10 of you or
Yeah.
50 of you.
Mhm.
I'm packaging you with my other stable of, livestock. I mean, talented artists,
Yeah,
who I take my end off of. And same with the lawyer, and same with this, and same with this. They're there to be there as well. Like that proximity
mhm.
is not just their livelihood, but part of the juice as well.
Yeah. Which runs its course, as we see in this movie. That's another thing that I think it was sort of hard to get helped alienate me a little bit in the first half, let's say 2/3 of the movie, is that sort of, needing that person to bring him some water or something like that. Like it's haha lightly funny at first, there's a little joke with him and his daughter. Say, "You're never alone." He goes, "I'm totally alone." And then
Yeah.
the butler brings him some
Well,
water, and that's
that's
played
the
subtly. That's played
yeah.
lightly. But then it happens again, and then there's this reference to the cheesecake being his rider, and there's about 5 shots of cheesecake, and that joke kind of wears thin, and it's that kind of thing. Like this guy who basically doesn't have to, who has. I'm surprised he doesn't have a dresser, quite frankly, and that sort of makes it hard to sort of get in, especially in this day and age when we're sort of talking a lot about the tech bros and the
well, especially I think
disparity,
this
income
film,
disparity, and that kind of thing.
Baumbach and Baumbach and Clooney, they're all about portraying him sympathetically.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So he's not a victim of his fame,
Mhm. He's kind
but
of
he's not like, so there's no, again, I come back to this. If it's satirical, where's the bite? This
yeah.
is all
Yeah.
gummy. This is all gums. There's no teeth.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I while I was watching it, I was finding examples where this could have, had a bit of an edge, um, which I've subsequently forgotten. But I should say one interesting thing is that he's evidently got 2 ex-wives, and aside from a flashback scene, they're not even. He doesn't seem to even have a current relationship
It's
with
just
them,
his kids.
or he doesn't refer to them in the present tense,
Yeah.
really. Or if they do, it's forgotten, or it's "How's your mom doing?" or something, a line that I didn't hear. But it's in terms of being an adult and having your relationships with your kids, you're probably going to have a relationship with your ex-wives. Maybe this wasn't an interesting topic to the filmmakers, but they don't even, except for Eve Hewson in a
Well, and
flashback.
that's like a
You know,
past
don't-
love,
you-
isn't it?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Like
That's
that's not a
the mother of the second child, I
yeah.
think. Yeah. So that's kind of an odd thing too, especially for Noah Baumbach, who writes often about marriage and the sort of the crashing marriage, or the after effects of
But
whatever
okay, coming
divorce.
on that, isn't it also there's a marriage, like, 'cause we see the end of a number of his relationships, and they may be they part of what underpins them is money, but his he breaks up with his manager, or well, he does, and his manager breaks up with him. Much like it sounds like his first wife and his second wife. People leave him because, well, they burn out.
Yeah.
You know, again, I'm not sure I'm quite buying that,
Yeah.
but within the constraints of the film, it burnt out. It's certainly one of those things that I think it's trying to say is that he is hard. There's some people who are hard on stuff. He's hard on people,
Yeah.
politely, smoothly, charmingly,
Yeah.
selfish. Well,
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a different life. That's
yeah.
why, and I suspect that that's why filmmakers want to approach it, because it's got avenues to explore there. But yeah, this one approached it kind of in an odd kind of way.
Well, I think of I can't help myself. I think of The Bubble. Who the heck
Mhm.
directed that dreck? Judd Apatow. Another one, who is, and I think his wife was in the role.
Yeah.
Like these people who they have moved up.
Mm.
They are not, they're living like the people who, like the manager and Jay. Why do I keep referring to him as the manager? Adam Sandler's character has a name, Ron.
Ron, yeah.
They've all moved up. They have kids. Oh, the one, it's like, so is your kid in trouble with the law? Ron's kid? Like it was some aside where she doesn't get there to do some cleanup or something on time. It won't count. And I'm like, that's community service, young lady.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. I want to go back to this question though. It's because I do. If is he a Dr. Faustus? Are we really just kind of at the end now? We are kind of going through his film, at the end now, are we actually watching Dr. Faustus kind of sort of saying, well, this was the cost. You've
Yeah.
got to have this great career, you know?
Hmm.
Now you must pay for it. It you
Yeah.
don't have to answer it right away.
Sure.
Shashank's got a couple of questions for us in the chat, and I want to bring them up first. Um, First of all, he suggests we should watch Om Shanti Om, stars SRK. Yeah, we have seen Pathan. But didn't Shashank, didn't you make an awesome kind of video on, was it on SRK or was it on SRK, wasn't it? Damn it, now I can't remember.
Yeah.
Fudge. It was a great video, great, like, kind of a sort of an analysis of this, 10-minute, I think it was like a 10-minute analysis of the
Yeah.
guy's career and where it could go. Maybe it wasn't SRK. Maybe, it's going to drive me nuts now.
I've actually,
We'll look it up and we'll pin it.
yeah, I've gotten
Okay.
away from Indian film a bit this year. I've been pursuing Japanese Jidaigeki, all the samurai movies on Tubi. So so not on purpose, just I got distracted. But
Now, here's another question. I think this kind of hooks into what Shashank was talking about before, and what I do think is maybe, if not intentional, part of what this film is doing. He says he's wondering what it takes to become a phenomenon like Michael Jackson or Tom Cruise or Arnold. What would drive you to ever reach that level? Well, again, ambition, single-minded ambition. Except Michael Jackson, he was born to it. I don't mean, yes, God-given talent.
yeah,
But he was born in a family. You look at Michael Jackson, you go, oh, that's what happens when the guy self-destructs. But after he's become the phenomenon, it's impossible to. He can't blow up the career. It's already happened.
it was
It
like
now
almost
has what? Yeah.
it was almost like a military path. His dad,
Yeah.
trained them and set them up and
beat them and
pursued,
Yeah,
pushed
yeah.
them into it. And it's only afterwards that it all kind of came
Yeah.
falling down.
But for Tom and Arnold, a single-minded ambition.
Mhm.
But it also makes me think of this. Of course, one of the things that's going on in the news today, Jim, Netflix is might successfully buy Warner Brothers. Of course, another studio conglomerate wants to buy it. It's funny, you see some of the online chatter about how Netflix wants to destroy the theatrical experience, and here this movie that's, a Netflix joint
Mhm.
ends with the theatrical experience at the end of a guy's career. But even, and I'll put it, you've got this production still out of their press kit,
Mhm.
and
That is a good picture.
it's a great picture, but it's also emphasizes his Cary Grant-ness, Clooney's
Yeah.
Cary Grant-ness, that smoothness, that cool, that Frank Sinatra cool,
Mm.
that I think Soderbergh may have seen before anyone else. And that's really what I do. I think those Oceans 11, 12, and 13 are what really went people. It's like, oh my goodness, what the hell? Because he was a TV star. That's who he was.
Yeah,
A
Dr.
TV
Doug
star.
in ER. For
Yeah.
Shashank, I don't know if Rob did answer your question earlier. My thing is that I sort of gained a lot of respect for him when I saw Three Kings. My wife and I were living in Vancouver at the time. I want to say, did we have our kid? I think Charlie was probably about 1 or 2, and we made it out on a January evening and we went out for dinner and saw this movie, and it didn't really grab me for the, you know, he's sort of having sex with a reporter, and I thought, oh, it's going to be one of these movies, and it turned into be a
A
dynamite movie, and I
real
thought,
movie.
oh my god, this is so awesome. Yeah, and that's sort of where I gained respect for him. And he, you know, some of these projects that he's done over the years, not quite of the Redford nature, but yeah, there's that Cary Grant thing. Cary Grant also has a quality of ease and lightness that may be mistaken for um lightness in another way. Like it may be, you may confuse with shallowness, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's always the curse when you're dealing with the sort of a handsome movie star kind of, you know, square jawed type, is that you know, because it seems that they're so effortless, you sort of you have to sort of watch things closely a little bit more, I think, because they, you know, they both guys have put in some
There's
pretty
some more
amazing
others. Oh,
performances.
brother, where art thou?
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, Syriana, Michael Clayton, Up in
Mm,
the Air, The
yeah.
Descendants.
And some
And
things
that's a
vaguely on
pretty
social justice, or you know, so you know, not something not quite social justice,
some
but
you know what I would say, a Hollywood liberal,
yes, yeah.
you know? Um,
Excuse me. Seasonal
you
tickle.
gotta co-produced Argo. Ugh.
Oof.
Uh, Good Night and Good Luck,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? It's, I think that was his um, first directing gig, but he also, I would say, do, folks, he has got a fantastic get it look up any time he's, you know, in some interview telling stories about working as a teenager for his aunt, Rosemary Clooney, because he would drive her and some of her old actual like names, but these were all women who had a lot of experience in showbiz. You know,
Yeah.
kid. Ah. It just and the stories he tells about that experience, and it's just that's worth the price of admission there. So I think actually, yeah, we've got to give him a bit more, maybe a bit more credit, but
Yeah.
coming back to Shashank's question about that superstardom, I think that is Jim and Shashank. And that's what I think is unintentionally interesting about this film is we're probably Shashank, you may live to see it again, but I'm not sure Jim and I will live to see a celebrity of that height, that global height. The way film took over the world, American film took over the world, that cultural hegemony that Gramsci would talk about, I don't think we'll see that again. It's too split up, it's too divided. Like
Mhm.
a great I mean, when MASH ended, that sitcom in what, 80, 81, 82, I half half of North America stopped to watch it.
I think a Monday night, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, you think of the end of Seinfeld. Some of these films, and this is something I've been documenting on the show for a while. You know, ticket sales ticket sales have remained stagnant and even shrinking as a percentage of population. Although we're watching more films than we ever did before. But it's more how many quote foreign films to us, Shashank,
Yeah.
have we covered that are easy to cover? There's no art house for us. Like, I mean, how many
Yeah.
times I think we went to the local art house once together to watch a Canadian film.
Yeah.
Not, it's easier to watch a wider variety, plus there's other things, plus there's videos, plus. I don't know if the environment right now would ever allow for a superstar of that stature. What Arnold benefited from, what Tom Cruise benefited from, even Brad Pitt, was still this pre-streaming era of, you still had movies that went to television and to videotape, but
Yeah.
it was a very small group of companies and people who said, this is what we're going to get behind, and it would have a global, that would have such a global impact, you know?
Mhm.
What do you think? What do you think of that?
Yeah, yeah, no, it's you think about the bigger hits these days, and it'd be maybe something on HBO, which I would gather, take The Sopranos, as popular as it was, I don't think it had maybe half the audience, or probably not a quarter of the audience that that final MASH episode did that you're talking about. Yeah, it is scattered, it is sort of splintered, and sometimes there's actors that I lose track of, and they're still working. They're just working on shows that you like, oh, I wonder whatever happened to this person. Oh, they've been steadily working for the past 10 years, but it's just not on a show I watch because it's
Yeah.
on the CW or it's on some other station, or whatever. It's such a scattered play. Like, I was
Yeah.
thinking, what in terms of big hits this year, a lot of them are animated, and that doesn't carry the same weight. Like, you're gonna have to
And they're animated 8 shows in, you know?
yeah.
Like,
Well, yeah,
even
something like K-pop Demon
something like
Hunters, or
Stranger Things or something,
yeah. Oh, yeah,
they are
yeah.
intense for a brief period,
Yeah.
and, otherwise, sorry. I'm so
But,
belchy. I Yeah, they're intense for a briefer period to a
yeah.
smaller group. I remember, like, I discovered Andor. I had heard of it, of course,
Mhm.
but yeah, Jim, I discovered Andor, and I was, "Okay, all right, I'll finally check it out," and oh my god, how did I let this slip by
Mm.
me? Like, I'd heard of Diego Luna, of course, and Star
Golden
Wars.
Globe nomination, your
Uh,
your favorite.
yeah. But I'm watching, and I'm, for crying out loud. So, of course, the second season comes out, the final season, the way they're doing it, and I'm like so jazzed. I'm telling people, yeah, I gotta get home. This is the second part of,
Yeah.
episodes 4 through 6 of the second season of Andor. People I told who never heard of it.
Oh,
And,
yeah. Yeah.
the first season about for years, great critical acclaim, big, like an intense, a loud and intense fan base, but just not that big. Just not that big.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lots of people hadn't heard of it. You would have at least heard of something like that, 30 years ago. You would have
Oh,
heard of
yeah.
it, even in the, yeah, never mind the 90s, even in the aughts. But here we are in the 2020s, and it's like, if you haven't heard of it, you haven't heard of it, period. And so
Well,
I think
yeah.
in that kind of environment, how could a Tom Cruise or Julia Roberts, like,
Mhm.
Julia Roberts may be one of the last women superstars,
Mhm.
you know, and, doing Netflix work
Well, my
now,
daughter, my daughter who's in her 20s is forever watching stuff, and I say, what's this? Why you're watching it? She was watching the Chair Company, which is sort of a big culty, cringy comedy that's just come out on HBO. And I said, well, what would appeal to you about this? She said, oh, there's a YouTuber on it that's got a role in it that I like, and she'll
Yep.
walk by Carl and I watching something, you say, "Oh, that guy's from TikTok, and this person's from YouTube." So it's it's the origin stories are all scattered. It's not all just like emerging from the big three networks. If you look at the list of Golden Globe Award nominees, if you have the half hour to sort of scroll down through them, they're all from different things. The movie
Yeah.
poster and behind you, Rob, says, in select, Jay Kelly in select their theaters November 14th. Otherwise, it's on Netflix. Not everybody has Netflix, right?
Yeah.
And not everybody got to the theater for the 48 hours that it might have been in showing in Toronto or whatever.
Yeah.
And all these things, especially TV shows, they're from different streamers, right? There's very few, maybe Abbott Elementary is one that's from one of the big three networks. And yeah, it's just they're all it's all piecemeal, right? And
Yeah.
then it's kind of funny. How do you gain any momentum from that when your audience is splintering? It's almost like you have friends. You need to wear a badge or something, like, okay, don't, talk to them about Netflix shows and Prime shows. They don't have Apple, and they don't, like,
Yeah.
because they won't know what you're talking about. But
Whereas if you see an Apple Plus, an Apple TV film, well, you're going to see an iPhone. Everyone's going to have an iPhone.
Oh, yeah.
iMessage will be woven into the plot.
On that Kevin
Yeah.
Spacey show, what was that one about the president?
Oh, House of Cards?
House of Cards, thank you. Nobody had phone cases because it would cover up the logo.
Yeah.
Like nobody had, and you'd think that's a great character note. If they're from Washington, they might have a Washington Commanders or whatever they're called now, their case, or they might have a Washington Nationals. Oh, they're a big baseball guy. You
Yeah.
wouldn't even have to mention it. It's just a character note, a little grace note.
Yeah.
Or Charlie Brown or whatever.
No, that's
This,
a great.
that, or a pink thing. Jess on New Girl had a little pink case with bunny ears on it. It's a little character note, and they didn't. They were all bare, as if to say, this phone will be dropped and shatter immediately.
Yeah.
But
Well-
that's one of the things that drove me crazy about House of Cards.
I
Get a
will
phone
say,
case.
this is the second phone in a row now I've not bought a case for, except for when we're doing our remote stuff. And then it's a cage because I can connect stuff to it.
Yeah.
And I'll be damned. Yeah, I do not regret that move. And we're talking second phone in a row now that's a refurbished, renewed. Sorry, not refurbished.
Oh, yeah.
Renewed.
Renewed.
It's new to me. They've already designed them to not do that.
Yeah.
The case adds so little value and just makes it bigger and uglier. That is not to defend it. You're absolutely right. They have it that way because how else would you know what phone they
Show
own?
it off.
Yeah. Okay. Let me actually, Shashank's got one more. And just to get it out there, to put a pin in it, he wants to know our take on microdramas, these vertical series. They have blown all over and gaining lots of money and viewership, but can they blow up in the future and become a phenomenon? Are you talking about Quibi, Shashank?
Oh, I haven't heard that for a while.
Yeah, no, like, I mean, he's talking about like a, sort of a TikTok-esque tall, just a tall vertical, aspect ratio.
I've
But
always been,
I got to admit, not since Quibi have I even thought of that. So you know what? I don't know. Shashank, you give us a bit more information on that.
you might be asking the wrong guy here. I'm always late with those guerrilla marketing campaigns and anything that's sort of like, oh, they were in a web series that was super hot. And, it took me about 2 years to find Chad Vader. And so when I finally jumped on the bandwagon for a little while. And I will say, though, that Pluribus, in terms of guerrilla marketing, Pluribus has a phone call that you can get off the Pluribus Wikipedia page that you can call in, and it's like part of the show. Like it's got some mysterious voice, which is kind of cool. But
Or
anyhow,
the gag.
yeah. I should, we're talking about.
He's referring to Real Box. Of course, Don't know about it. Gonna have to look into it.
Yeah.
I gotta admit though, I mean, was Quibi actually? You know what? We're gonna have to come back to that. I gotta admit, I suspect it'll die like Quibi did.
Mm.
You know, it requires too much focused engagement over periods. Well, I don't know. You know what? We'll have
We'll
to get back to you on that.
yeah.
Shashank, you're giving us homework now. God damn it!
Thanks a lot, Shashank. It's
Just because
Christmas
you're the
time.
student doesn't mean we have to be students now. Okay, Jim. Let's get back to Jay Clooney. Yeah, there seems to be, without it being actually, there is this film is tinged with nostalgia.
Yeah.
But not even kind of a sincere one.
Yeah.
But not in any way like a nostalgia, almost like a nostalgia for something that has nothing to do with me as an
Yeah.
audience member.
Well, even the movie that go ahead.
Yeah, no.
Even the movie they're shooting, I have it written down here. 8 Men from Now. It's the movie that they're currently about to wrap, and they're apparently wrapping it chronologically.
Yeah.
So they wrap it exactly where he dies. His character dies in this fake movie.
It's a picture wrap on Jay and a wrap on the picture.
Good job, everyone. It was a pleasure to work with you, Sue. By the way, director is our favorite little stormtrooper from Andor. Yeah, which is Kyle something or other. But there's this great big opening tracking shot that
Not a
takes
stormtrooper.
Yeah,
just a schmuck,
administrator or whatever.
It's just a poor, like a security guard became a spy. God, I love that show. What a great show. Sorry,
there's a big tracking shot that takes you down through the set, and you're weaving in and out of different conversations. And
Altman-esque for about 3 minutes.
There's an old stagehand that says, "One day it'll be the last movie for all of us. They will turn out the lights, and that will be that." That's verbatim. I wrote that down. And then Clooney's character says, as his character's been hit by a bullet and he's dying, and there's a dog there, and it says, "My time passed while I was still alive. When you die," and then after a couple seconds, he says, "When you die, everything you thought you were wasn't true," which is kind of like pretty heavy and
also kind of in a nutshell,
his interior temperature at the moment. Anyway, what he's thinking about.
But I would say that's the whole film.
Yeah,
and because what does he do at the end? Which sort of begs the question: what did you? How did you take? I thought it stuck the landing, but I am not sure I'm buying what Baumbach is peddling there.
I was okay. You know, it was a moment.
Like, don't get me wrong, it had emotional heft and everything. But I'm like, okay, what are you up to here, buddy? How did you interpret? How did you read the ending?
Yeah, they foreshadowed it a couple times where he's always asking for, even though he thinks he's nailed a scene, and the director's like, "Yeah, that's great." He goes,
"Yeah,
can I have another go?"
We appreciate that. What did you think he meant in that moment? Is it well, it's films, it's a dream factory.
Yeah.
Was it all just a dream? Are we in a movie?
Oh,
what does the end mean?
Oh, well, I didn't think of it that way.
What is Baumbach doing there?
Oh, okay.
Because he breaks the fourth wall. He looks in the... Can I do it all over again? Is it a kind of... Because I think there's a couple ways, Jim, you can read it. On the one hand, it's I would like to do the whole thing over again.
Yeah.
A do-over to life. Although this guy isn't on his... He's not on his deathbed. So it's like... I mean, he can't be... much like Cary Grant left in part because it's like, I can't, this girl is 16. I cannot have an affair with the 16-year-old. She's younger than my daughter, for crying out loud,
Mm.
kind of thing. But also, he's not that, but he could still have a career. His career isn't over. He's not, yeah, he's faced the fact that because of choices he's made, there's costs to that and
Yeah.
consequences. So you could read it that way. Like, he wants a do-over. He wants to maybe make some of these different choices. But you could also look at it like, oh, is it all just, hey, you've been watching a movie? Because that is what we're doing, a bit of meta going on here, because we're all watching a movie and he's looking at us through the camera,
Mm.
you know, can I do it again? Just like the movie started, you know, like you say, in a tracking shot on a set coming up, getting closer, because when he does that final, when he gets his do-over, it is shot very similarly. You know, he said how the third act and everything starts to push in. Well, it's very close to him. The way it's edited, what he's seeing, or what we're seeing, we think is Baumbach being a little cheeky here, going, have you been watching this guy's life, or have you just been watching a movie about a guy named Jay Kelly? Because there's even self-referential stuff. George Clooney, has he made any movies that aren't Netflix of late? The Midnight Sky, like, there's a bunch of George Clooney stuff on the screen, including from The Midnight Sky. Another one about a man.
I don't think I saw that one.
We covered it on the show.
Did we really?
We did. Remember, he's a scientist. I obviously had, I got more positive.
What year? 2020.
2020.
Oh, come on. That was 5 years ago.
It was one of our, but it was a show we covered, Jim. But it was also about a man who is trying to make amends with a child.
Yeah.
You know, about a past relationship, a man with regrets. With regrets, Jim.
I'll have to watch the trailer after we get off here. But But again, that question, will you remember this?
Well, most of them we don't.
Or you remember bits of ones, sometimes even from movies you didn't like, which is weird to me. But anyway,
I gotta admit, I've got a bit of a soft spot for this film. I thought, other than, of course, Jim, as we've complained about before, it's like, there's no way he's still alive after falling in the water in the Arctic.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Another
Gotta
movie
get
that gets
warm. He died 5 minutes ago. Hypothermia.
wrong. Yeah. Yeah. No, definitely I'll look that up. But yeah, I mean, the movie was very it had a lot of fun with transitions, which I thought were really well handled. That was probably one of the more interesting parts of the movie, where he would just sort of turn around and be in a different room in his past. For those who haven't seen it, and that was they did that all movie long. So I just sort of looked at this as sort of a continuation of that, almost in spirit. So I didn't take it as a literal kind of thing. I was just pleased to have that vulnerability at the end, because he generally came across as it came
like a great actor.
Like it was, but that it was coming from the right place, you know, or it was in good faith. I should say. So
I don't think, if that's part of it, it's not like I wasn't mad.
Yeah.
You know, there's sometimes you're like, oh, off. Just you know, you're angry because the director's jerking you around, or they're like a con. You know, there's some films where it's going one way and all of a sudden it takes a weird right turn, and it was really this all along, and it's like, you know, it wasn't.
It's all just a dream.
You lied to us then as audience.
Yeah, no, I think it worked because of how genuine it came across. But I didn't. That's interesting that you asked that, because I didn't see it as uh, at the time, and that's an interesting idea that you bring up, that it was maybe like, what's going on here, or am I playing with the reality? So yeah, I took it very, I live in a very literal house, so I took that. My wife and my son are very literal people, so I took that. I was following their lead, and I took that
Yeah.
literally. But yeah, it was kind of a bit of a swing at the end there, I think,
Yeah.
and I think it
I
works.
again, I think it stuck the landing.
Yeah, yeah.
And what was otherwise, I still think, although I may watch it again just to kinda be a little more like I said, I had a hard time getting into it.
Mm.
I don't think this is gonna be like past lives, though, where I was like, "Oh, I was not fair to this film." I
Yeah.
think, even after it, I might say, "I am slightly warmer about this film than I was before." My what do they do? What is that thing they do on breakfast all day that you
Oh,
hate? My
oh,
my review has
the
gone from a
decimal.
6.5 to a 6.62.
Yeah. No offense, kids, but yeah, just like I was wavering between whether it was a 7.9 or 7.8. It just so it's not a binary choice. It's not yes or no. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
gradients of 100.
Like I said,
There was a restaurant in Kagoshima City in Japan where I used to live, or near where I used to live, called Nanak, I think, and they had 100 points of spice where you could choose. Well, what do you want your dish set at? And I thought that's crazy.
yeah.
Do you measure it or what? And one of the American teachers with us chose 60, and I think he just about passed out, had some sort of afterlife experience. But yeah, he didn't
Well,
do very well.
let me pitch another a different kind of read of this film. I'm Jim,
Mm.
I'm gonna get political here.
Uh-oh.
I know you've never seen this from me before. Uh, what I will say is, even after this conversation, I gotta admit, I'm not like, wow, I can't wait to watch this film again. I'm like more, I need to give it one more shot just to kind of be firm. Like I said, though, I'm suspecting it's the best I'm going to give it is a little bit more. It's not as self-involved as The Bubble. But
Yeah,
I
no,
will
no.
say this is, for a film that does have a nice emotional note at the end, there really aren't that many consequences. People quit their employment with him,
Mm.
but still remain friends.
Yeah.
So he doesn't lose. There's no Jay. Yeah, Jay has some uncomfortable conversations. He's got to do a bit of self reflection, but you're not going, wow, his kids have rejected him. Heck, one of them forgave him. You know,
Yeah.
uh, he's not. Yeah, there's not. You're not going at the end of this film. This is the end of a career.
Mhm.
You know that happened to Jim Broadbent. Pete's character.
Peter, yeah,
Peter,
Peter.
yeah, he just died. You know, even though he
Mhm.
said, pickles don't go on a date. It's like, well, you're about to, buddy. This
Yeah,
analogy's not going to work out for you.
yeah,
I would say, and this is what one of the things that's missing. Get all dialectical here, Mr. Chaboyko,
sure.
is this film is actually missing the audience. I mean, there are fans of
Mhm.
him. There are in the theater at the end, he sees family members, like all these people who aren't actually there. That's who he
Mhm.
sees. But the thing this whole machine is meant for, to get our money, we are never part of this. The audience, the everything about the whole operation, yeah, we're not part of it. In this film, and so I would infer to Baumbach, the audience is like, well, they're not a must have. They're nice to have. They're not a need to have. It is not about, hey, I want to make something for an audience to connect with. It's only, or if it is, it's only insofar as so I get to make another movie. Maybe it does look at the movie star and their incredible wealth, but that misses the point about the money around film. Just as we've, alluded to, talked about, this can be incredibly toxic even to the super famous, how distorting it can be on their character, on their soul, how awful it can be as they get disconnected from the world. And I'm not saying, Diddy, but you gotta say there's an industry is like, as long as you're keeping and making us all money, you do whatever you want.
Yeah.
An industry that controls, in a way, our cultural education, the way we see ourselves. And this movie says, no, we're about the star here. This is what we're going to look at. This is the only thing that you care about because this is what we're telling you. It's the only thing you care about. And it's like, and that star's wealth and everything, and they're just like people, but boy, they're kind of crazy and disconnected. What about the billionaires who run that? You get a brief shout out to the workers involved at the beginning, and I'm not talking Ron, or I think, is it Liz who's his publicist, Laura Dern? I think it's Liz.
Yes, yeah, I think so. Part of the team anyway.
We're like, we get a little bit of like some of the workers within this industry, and it is an industry, but you know what? There are thousands upon thousands of people involved in this, talking to millions of people, saying, this is reality. This is what these are our values. This is what's important. And you would, in this discussion of movies, it's not there. Never once do they, well, I shouldn't say they don't refer to the studio, but they don't really. The studio is like another thing. It's even that sort of disconnected. It's almost like a don't look here. No, look at this hand. Never mind what this one's doing outside of the frame, and I think that is why this film, something, speaking of Andor, I think one of the reasons Andor resonates is because it reaches on human truth, lived experience for so many people, that it's, the closer it gets to truth, the more, well, really, for me, the more left-wing it feels. Whereas here, it's like, well, yeah, it's kind of true for that guy. I'm not involved in that life. I don't live that consequence-free in existence. And in a way, I don't think Jay Kelly, there is no Jay Kelly. He doesn't exist. George Clooney imbued him with some of his reality, but even then, it's very, again, there's no bite here.
Yeah. No.
So it's not really kind of George, and nor do I need to see George's inner, hey, this is how I really did treat my first wife, or but we're not seeing any bite on how some of these people can treat others. This is where, again, I think of something with bite. I think of Swimming with the Sharks. And there's a Dr. Faustus thing where it's like, oh, well, that was your choice at the end, was it? Was it Frank? I mean, whatever the character's name was. One of the reasons it stuck with me. Whereas, this one, I mean, I'll watch it again more as a part of our exercise here. But I got to admit, I'm like, if I think I felt more in Midnight Sky than I felt here, because there's no consequence. It doesn't feel like a real life in the end. It doesn't feel like a reality I'm actually being invited into to say, hey, look at this fascinating place where you can learn about yourself while still seeing something. It's like, well, what did I really get shown? Certainly not the actual reality of Hollywood, which is Disney going, you know what? As long as we get $1 billion worth of your stock, sure, you can screw our workers' interests in this. We'll do a deal on all our intellectual property.
Oof.
Sure, you might enjoy the theatrical experience. I've not been. I enjoy it. I'm not quite as, oh my God, we got to save this thing as others. We've been talking about this ever since the podcast started,
Yeah.
About how that has changed. But at the same time, it's like, wow, really, these companies are becoming even more monopolistic, and everyone's going, treating it more like, well, or not everyone. Workers are complaining about it, but the media, what we're being shown is more a conflict, much like Tron, a conflict of CEOs and who's the best for this future vision. And it's
Mhm.
like, who cares? Like, what about us?
Yeah.
No. What do you think of that take, that alternate read of this film, Jim?
Yeah, I mean, myself, I always think sort of like what. Yeah, I gotta caution myself into judging a movie on what it is and not the turns I think it should have taken. But I mean, I think you do have a point there. They do refer to the audience a little bit, if only the train car full of schlubs, who are traveling coach, I guess, on the train, and it's all those sort of fawning people from various countries, and he looks through the glass and he said, "Oh, I haven't been on a train for years. I'm supposed to be portraying people, and I don't even, I don't hear them, I don't see them, I don't touch them." And then Liz goes, "Let's not touch them." That was one of the little gags that were funny. But yeah, there's a there's a little bit of uh there's a few bones thrown, but not to any great extent. Like, it was almost cursory kind of. and
Oh yeah.
and that part I found a couple things I found it a little bit condescending. And also throughout this whole movie, just two side notes. Jamie Demetriou, who is in this, is the sort of the tall Englishman,
Yeah.
who has a bit of a broader accent. He did a show himself called Stath Less Flats for 3 years, I think, on English TV. It's great, and I only see him in roles. He's on the screen for maybe 3 minutes. Like, let's give this guy. Speaking of throwing bones, let's throw him a bone. Like, I'd much rather watch him
Well, the
on
thing is, we got
something than half
massive
these
industry
comedians. Yeah,
consolidation.
no,
We're not gonna. One of
no,
the reasons, like, notwithstanding your daughter's, partly it's like, I want to see what she's done. I want to see what these people, these social media folks
mm,
that are coming in. Another reason they're picking them is because they're cheap.
yeah,
That's
mm,
cheap labor.
oh yeah, yeah.
In a
But
divided context. You know, they're inexpensive. George Clooney will get the big bucks because he's prestige.
yeah,
And I don't care. Yes, they're all about money, but they're also all about, no, we're a classy operation and you don't need to regulate us. We're the best
mm.
ones to know what to do with all this ridiculous money that they have unearned, all this unearned money they have.
The other thing I was gonna, like, you didn't go to Juilliard, we'll have to pay you less. The other thing is that all the Europeans on this are they all come across as like Smurfs or hobbits or some, like, I don't want to say subspecies, that because that conjures up other things, but like they're like little halflings. They're all twee and precious, and they're all like, oh, and like, there's just, except for the guy that is off his meds and steals a purse, but they all come across like, can we not have them portrayed as
Caricatures.
worshiping hobbits?
Yeah,
Absolutely,
caricatures.
caricatures of
Yeah.
caricatures of general European people, and I think that goes a little way into showing
Well,
where this movie is pointed
this
towards
is
a
where
little bit.
I'm like, say Bomback or, Gerwig and Bomback's, the Barbie, another thing where it's like, well, okay, it's not, I'm saying it's bad, but there's, I keep coming back to it. The Simpsons did it better in 23 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, where is the bite here?
Mhm.
You know, why would you fight with this? You know, the right-wing MAGA wackadoos, and they're arguing with this thing. Quick thing, Shashank's going to send us a link, but apparently in China, the global markets of microdrama have exceeded movies as of the year 2024. It's racing towards $16 billion in global revenue by 2026. Not nothing.
Mm.
Also, Real Short and Drama Box earned movers 300 mil. Not 100% sure what he means by that, but I guess Colin and Samir made a video, and he's going to send us the link.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So looking forward to that.
Mhm.
And yeah, maybe
He
it's something to be worth analyzing. Because I do
the
think
student
Jim,
becomes the master. No,
well,
not
but
that we're his teachers, but he's
yeah,
got other teachers
yeah,
anyway.
but I do
He's
think
teaching us
here,
stuff.
Jim, we are, and I'm not saying this is like, oh, horror, but we are kind of at the end, I think, of film, or we can see the end of film as not as an art form, but as the preeminent art form. You know, theater isn't dead, but it's not a preeminent art form. It's not, you know,
No.
television. I think there's cooler, more amazing things going on in television than we've seen in film. Well, Sinners notwithstanding, like, it's just
Yeah.
more exciting things are happening on television right now, on average than there. And television, you know, we're really talking about streaming television.
Mm.
You know, when's the last great, amazing thing that's come out of a network? You know,
Yeah.
but yeah, for film, your 2-hour thing, I think, yeah, we're kind of going, wow, it's changed, and it's not going to be the big thing anymore. I
Yeah.
mean, video games, for crying out loud.
Oh, my
know.
daughter just spent the evening watching the video game awards tonight. You
Yeah.
know, and that was the thing. She watches them every year, usually with friends online. Yeah, so that's, and you know, the stuff she watches. Although she does watch The Pit and The Chair Company and a few other
Yeah.
things too. What she watches will be subsequent quite different than what I watch, you know. And even the delivery modes, she'll watch a lot of stuff on YouTube or the interwebs or what have you, and you know, different than what I watch, you know.
Okay.
So
All right. Well, listen, Jim, why don't we come back to this film briefly?
sure.
And as a part of, well, let's call it as part of final thoughts, I'm going to ask you, my good friend, is Jay Kelly a see it or a skip it for you?
If I was in a crappier mood, I'd say skip it, but it's a slight see it. If only it being part of it will be part of the awards conversation, and the final third sort of pays off. But yeah, it's not a strong one for me. Will I remember this one in a few years? I might remember Adam Sandler in this more than the storyline.
That's an interesting comment. Yeah, you know, he's showing he's going he's going further into his Tom Hanks period. You know, when is he when he's a World War II destroyer captain?
Yeah.
For me, while reserving the right to slightly modify my answer,
Sure, yeah.
I'm gonna say, yeah, you got nothing better to do. It's fine. Interesting ending,
Mhm.
you know. But right now, if you haven't seen it already, go see Predator Badlands.
Yes.
You know, heck, on streaming, you haven't seen it already, see Sinners.
Hmm.
Uh, Even I would say, although it is not, like I cannot think of it without thinking of Sinners, but Goodbye Chuck or Good Luck Chuck. What
Oh,
the hell, Charlie? Just a sec here. Oh, good night. No, goodbye. Goodbye. Oh, for
this is
crying out.
not one we've just go through a little different titles. I hate some titles I just don't doesn't stick, you know.
Oh, it's you know what? I cannot remember the title, based on a Stephen King novella,
Oh, Life of Chuck.
Life of Chuck. Thank you.
Yeah.
See that if you're on streaming. You know, what's another thing I saw recently on streaming? You know, there are other great 2-hour watches. This
Mm.
is 2 hours and 13 minutes. You know, I mean, you really need to watch what, you know, the the hard life, the rough life of the rich and famous. Sure, you know, the slightly hard life of the rich and famous. Sure.
Yeah.
Again, it's fine, but I think and yeah, if you really want to see something with bite, yeah, you got to go into the archives, but there are better, more biting there are better there are satires, actual satires of film and the film industry and the film business than this.
Hmm.
So I guess that's almost, it's a not see it.
Yeah.
It's not a skip it, but it certainly ain't a see it either. All right. Anything else you wanted to add, Jim, before we wrap it up? Oh,
No,
and
I think we covered.
Shashank. Oh yeah, I did mention that. Okay, sorry. Back to you, Jim. Anything else you want to add?
No, I think we covered most of the notes that I had written down, and yeah, onward. Next movie.
All right, folks. Yeah, and who knows, it will be, because we're getting into that season. We're coming up on the Oscars. We're nearing the end of the year. So maybe it's time to have those deep dives we've been talking about, including for Predator Badlands, one of the funnest nights in the theater of recent memory. But we could do it. We could also do a deep dive on the one battle after another, because that's out on
Oh,
streaming.
yeah.
So on that note, folks, please do not forget to like, subscribe, and of course, ringy-ding that bell. Okay. Yeah, I think that's about it. Say goodnight, Jim.
Good night. Happy holidays.